Hello everyone, Zane here, and welcome to So You Want to Be a Dark Knight. Dark Knight was the third tank that was added into Heaven's Ward in Final Fantasy XIV. So in order to find Dark Knight, you want to go into Foundation, the Pillars, and it will be right outside the Supreme Sacred Tribunal of Hellenic Inquisitory Doctrine. So pretty much right about here you'll find an NPC, which will lead you to the Broom, which you will find your Dark Knight NPC trainer. So Dark Knight uses MP as well as TP in its repertoire, which requires you to manage your MP efficiently in order to play Dark Knight efficiently. So Dark Knight has one stance, and that is Grit. Grit has some unique abilities added to it, which only can be activated while Grit is up and off. So Dark Knight has two different combos, which is your Enmity and your DPS combo. So your aggro combo is going to be Hard Slash, Spinning Slash, and Power Slash. Hard Slash has a potency of 150. Spinning Slash delivers an attack with potency of 100. Additional effect is increased Enmity, and it combos off a Hard Slash and does a 220 combo potency. And of course, Power Slash is the third combo attack, delivers a potency of 100. Increased Enmity combos off Spinning Slash and does a combo potency of 300 and increases Enmity when Dark Arts is up. Dark Arts is an ability which attunes with the darkness within you, increases the potency of several actions, can only be executed when succumbing to the dark side, which I'll go over next, and effect fades if dark side is cancelled. So dark side, which is pretty much commonly known in a lot of different Final Fantasy games as an attack, it is something you want up at all costs. It actually costs 600 MP and increases damage dealt by 20%. MP generation stops during battle, and refresh statuses granted by others have no effect, such as refresh abilities from Bard, Machinist, and Mana Shift from Spellcasters. So if Dark Side is up, none of those abilities will affect you. So back to the DPSing combo, you will have Siphon Strike and Soul Eater. This is where Grit takes effect. Delivers an attack with a potency of 100. Dark Arts potency of 240, combos off a Dark Slash. Combo potency of 250. Dark Arts plus Hard Slash combo 390. Without Grit, you will restore 1200 MP. With Grit, it's 2400. So 1200 without, 2400 with Grit on. So Soul Eater is the last DPS combo. Delivers an attack with a potency of 100. Dark Arts potency of 240, combos off a Siphon Strike. Combo potency is 300, 440 with both of them combined, and with Grit on, absorbs a portion of damage dealt as an HP. Without Grit, it doesn't do squat, it just does damage. And increases your blood gauge by 10%, which I'll go over that a little bit later. So let's go back up and go with the different abilities that is used with Grit and without Grit. So Blood Weapon is used when Grit is off. Reduces weapon skill cast time and recast time, spell cast time and recast time, and auto attack delay by 10%, and converts all physical damage dealt into MP as well. While reducing weapon skill, TP cost by 20%, also increases blood gauge by 3 each time a physical attack lands. Duration is 15 seconds, cannot be used while Grit is up, and cancels if Grit is activated. So it has a pretty unique ability, and it affects a lot of different abilities. And Blood Price is the opposite, and it activates when Grit is up. Restores partial MP when damage is taken for 15 seconds. Increases blood gauge by 1 every time you suffer damage, and another 4 over time while in battle. Can only be used while under the effect of Grit, and it cancels all if Grit is deactivated. It has a recast time of 40, as well as Blood Weapon as well. Going down the line here, we have Dark Passenger, which is a giant straight AoE. It costs MP of 2400. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 100 to all enemies in a straight line before you. Can only be executed when succumbing to the dark side. Potency with dark arts is 240 and also inflicts blind. Duration for 15 seconds. It is highly recommended you do not waste dark arts on Dark Passenger. So before I go on, I also want to talk about Amend and Unleash. So Unmend is basically Dark Knight's range pulling attack, like Tomahawk or the Shield Throw. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 150, while it increases enmity, and a 30% chance that next Unleash will cost no MP, and that has a 15-second duration. So Unleash is an AoE attack with a 5 yalm radius around you. Does unexpected damage with a potency of 50 to all nearby enemies, and increases enmity. So you have a 30% chance that this will cost no MP whatsoever, which costs 1080, and Unmend costs 480. This is for crowd control. You pretty much want to do at least twice to hold aggro through a group. So let's go into some Dark Knight's defensive abilities, and Dark Mind is one of them. Reduces magic vulnerability by 50%, can only be executed while succumbing to the dark side for 15 seconds. Dark Arts effect increases that vulnerability by another 15%. It is mostly useless because a lot of enemies do physical damage over magical. Again, it's another ability that really needs reworking. The next defensive ability is Shadow Wall. Reduces damage taken by 30% for 10 seconds. It has a recast time of 180 seconds. So it's your second strongest defensive cooldown. Living Dead. It is basically Dark Knight's last resort. It's like Home Gang or Paladin's Hollow Ground. It grants the effect of Living Dead when HP is reduced to 0, while under the effect of Living Dead, instead of becoming KO'd, your status will change to Walking Dead for 10 seconds. If your HP is not restored by 100% before Walking Dead timer runs out, you will be KO'd early and completely. Your next ability is Salted Earth, which does basically a ground AoE that will last for 21 seconds. Creates a patch of salted earth, dealing unexpected damage, a potency of 75 to all enemies who enter, and increases your blood gauge by 1 every time the damage ticks. That number will increase by the number of enemies succumbing to the damage. So if you have 10 enemies in the AoE, you get 10 points of blood gauge each damage tick. Plunge is a gap closer with a potency of 200 and cannot be executed while bound. Abyssal Drain. Deals unexpected damage, a potency of 120 to a target and all enemies nearby it, increases enmity, and with Dark Arts effect up, it absorbs a portion of damage dealt as HP. This can save your butt when you're pulling in a group and you're trying to speedrun and your healer wants to DPS. You can pretty much spam Abyssal Drain with Dark Arts and pretty much restore your HP. With more enemies around you, more HP restored. And has MP cost of 1320, so it can be draining. Soul Survivor. It's a very useful ability. It marks target with the status another victim. If that target is dead within 15 seconds, 20% of your maximum HP and MP will be restored. Next is Carve and Spit. It delivers a threefold attack with a potency of 100. Also restores MP if not used under Grit. If you have Dark Side used, it will do a 450 attack potency, but you do not get the MP restoration. So it's very conditional. Do you want it for MP regeneration, or do you want it for damage in itself? Delirium was changed from Heaven's Door into Stormblood. Instead of doing an attack that reduces intelligence of the enemy, it now restores MP and extends blood gauge and blood weapon and blood price by 8 and 16% seconds respectively. So 8 seconds for blood weapon, 16 for blood price. And it costs 50 blood gauge to activate. And it has an 80-second recast time. For next ability is Quietus. Delivers an attack with potency of 160 to all nearby enemies. Dark Arts potency of 210. Restores own MP. And it costs 50 blood gauge. Now, the MP restoration is basically a flat percentage. I don't know if I think it scales with your level, but I'm not 100% positive on that. But if you hit multiple enemies with that, you will get multiple MP restoration. And you have probably one of your most hard-hitting ability, Blood Spiller. Delivers an attack with a potency of 400 by itself. Dark Arts 540, with Grit is 475, and with Dark Arts and Grit together it's 650. And it costs you 50 blood gauge. And you have probably one of the most useful abilities in Dark Knight's repertoire. It is the Blackest Night. With an MP cost of 2400, it grants a shield to yourself for 20% of your maximum HP and 10% if you're using it on a party member. If an attack breaks that shield, your Dark Knight's blood gauge will increase by 50. But that 20% on yourself or that 10% on a party member needs to be broken. If not, you will not get the increased blood gauge. But it's a damage mitigation regardless, and it's very, very useful. If you are going to be hit with a tank buster, or if your main tank is going to get hit, or if you're trying to save your healer or any other DPS in your group, it is a very, very self-preservation ability. The recast time of 15 seconds and MP cost of 2400. Alright, so now let's go into a little bit of a ability demonstration. So here's your Enmity combo. Your DPS combo. Just put Grit on. I'm gonna use Dark Arts on Siphon Strike to show you 2400 MP restoration. On Soul Eater, it does more damage and also it restores more HP. I already have 100 on my blood gauge, so let's go ahead and show you Blood Spiller. It's a pretty cool flip attack. Here's Quietus. As you can see, it restores 480 MP at level 70 at my level, and it's for both targets, so it doesn't increase regardless how many targets there are in your attacking. Here's Salted Earth. And as you can see, the blood gauge increases by 2 each time it ticks. Dark Passenger. Flicks blind for 15 seconds, as you can see. Let me take Grit off and show you Blood Weapon. Watch my blood gauge. Every time I do an attack, it gives me 3 extra to the blood gauge. And of course, it gives you more blood gauge as it also ticks. Delirium, as you can see, my blood gauge, my blood weapon duration has been increased for 8 seconds. There's Plunge, Gap Closer. Show you Abyssal Drain. And show you with Grit on. Let's see what else is there. Here's Carven Spit without Dark Arts. As you can see, it restores 1200 MP. That number is fixed. I'm going to show you Blackest Night. So I have about 7 seconds to take damage, or otherwise the shield is completely useless. There's Dark Mind. And unfortunately, Soul Survivor does not work on a dummy. I got Shadow Wall, which is another cool animation. Soul Survivor, which is another cool animation. And then this is Living Dead. So pretty much those are the abilities. Also here's Amend. And I'll show you Unleash. Which is that. So basically that is all the Dark Knight's abilities and actions. So now let's go into traits. So Dark Knight has a very few traits. You have Vitality Enhancement and Blood Gauge, and Enhanced Blood Gauge. Allows for blood gauge accumulation while under the effect of blood weapon and blood price. The first trait only allows for blood gauge accumulation under landing of certain actions, which was basically Salted Earth and Soul Eater. So pretty much those are the traits. So let's go into the role actions. Now, Dark Knight lost Reprisal, but is now a cross-roll ability, and it pretty much lowers targets damage dealt by 10%. Also can take Rampart, which reduces damage taken by 20%. Low Blow, which they also lost, so it's now a cross-roll ability, which basically goes stun. Provoke, Convalescence. Anticipation, which increases parry by 30%. Pretty useless for Dark Knight. Awareness, which nullifies chance of suffering critical damage. Interject, which silences target for 1 second. Ultimatum, provoke nearby enemies, placing yourself at the top of the enemy list, so it's basically an AoE provoke. And Shirk, which diverts 25% of enemy to target party member. So if you're doing tank swaps, you can the other tank can shirk you to make sure that you lose enemy, so that the switch will be smooth as possible. Well, that is pretty much Dark Knight in a nutshell. You basically want to do your aggro combination on a target a few times, switch grit off, rotate your cooldowns, use your blood weapon to restore your MP, and is also increasing your blood gauge, and then using Delirium, Quietus, and the Blood Spiller at your discretion, depending on your situation. Dark Knight unfortunately does the weakest damage of the 3 tanks, but it is very fun to play, and it does have a lot of self-preservation, such as Soul Survivor, Blackest Night, Living Dead, and also has Abyssal Drain and other abilities that will help you restore MP and as well restore HP. And don't forget, with Dark Side up, you cannot be refreshed with Bards, Machinists, or the Mana Shift abilities. So also keep that in mind as well. And please do not use Dark Arts on Dark Passenger or Dark Mind, because those are, you're pretty much wasting your MP on that. As for the role actions, take what you want based on the bosses you are fighting. Even though Dark Knight is the weakest of the tanks, they can do any content in this game, since a Dark Knight is the one tank that was responsible for defeating Lord Bahamut in the ultimate difficulty. Proves that a Dark Knight can do anything in any fight in this game. Even though it is the weakest of the 3, it is still a fun job, and I really do enjoy playing Dark Knight and Stormblood more than Heaven's Ward, because in Heaven's Ward, Dark Side would drain your MP, causing it to be a little bit difficult to play. Also, it just didn't work well with the abilities that it had, because it also had parrying abilities which didn't mesh well with abilities such as Blood Price, which works off of getting damage taken. So Dark Knight was just really discombobulated in Heaven's Ward, and it just didn't feel right. So in Stormblood, they definitely made Dark Knight more playable and newbie friendly. I definitely have enjoyed Dark Knight ever since they made the changes to it. So guys, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you found this useful in any way possible, or it cleared up any confusion that you had and the abilities in Dark Knight's repertoire. And also don't forget to leave your comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're new for more Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood content. So until next time guys, may you forever walk in the light of Lord Bahamut. Take care guys, and enjoy Dark Knight as much as I have.